Hey, it's Cristin from CristinOnDemand.com, and on this channel, you will find videos all about teaching ESL online for new, aspiring, and veteran teachers. And in this video, I am going to be talking about VIPKid versus GoGoKid. I'm going to have the two companies go head to head and see which one might come out on top, just to kind of see how they compare. So before we get started, if you enjoy videos like this or videos about teaching online in general or teaching ESL online, go ahead and hit that subscribe button now so you don't miss any videos in the future. So let's get started. Okay, first I want to talk about the age of these companies because that makes a difference in a lot of the other points that we're going to mention. So let's start there, okay? Here we go. Okay, so as far as the age of the companies, VIPKid has been around a lot longer than GoGoKid. GoGoKid is definitely the new kid on the block. They've only been around for a couple years. So with that being said, a lot of their features, their platform, their classroom features, things like this are still evolving. If you were only a GoGoKid teacher, you wouldn't know any different and you wouldn't have anything to compare it to. But if you teach on both platforms, or if you're a VIPKid teacher and you go and become a GoGoKid teacher, there are some things that are just not the same because GoGoKid has not had as long to evolve their platform and their classroom as VIPKid has, and that just comes with the territory. So things I'm talking about used to be able to enter the classroom and teach on an internet browser, right? And then VIPKid got rid of that and they said, no, now you can only teach through this app that we've made. You download the app on your computer and this is the only way to access the classroom, okay? When I started with GoGoKid, you could also teach through an internet browser. And recently, they are just now starting to move people to be teaching only exclusively through the app that they had. Okay, so you can see that GoGoKid is still evolving. When I started with GoGoKid, and this was just recently, this was back in March of this year, March of 2020, there was no app for GoGoKid, like phone app, none, which was huge because I used the VIPKid phone app to check my schedule, to check my pay, to check, if any of my classes have been booked, things like this all the time. Way more often, it's way more convenient than having to log onto the computer to check these things. But GoGoKid didn't have this yet. And while GoGoKid now does, recently, soon after I got hired, this is something that came out with GoGoKid. It's still nowhere near where the VIPKid app is. And so that's just what I mean. You can see the differences between the companies. GoGoKid is evolving. They are coming along. They're, doing all the steps they need to evolve as a company, but they're just behind because they started behind VIPKid. So that is something when I think about VIPKid and GoGoKid, these are things that I think about, but only because I work for them both. So the use to me, the user friendliness, the use of GoGoKid, their features, their platform, their app, things like that, I think, to me personally, VIPKid takes the cake here because they've just been around longer. Like I said, they've updated things, GoGoKid just isn't there yet, but they're coming. I know they are because they're evolving. They're doing things that they need, but they're just behind in those areas. So next, we should probably talk about the classroom features and the classes in general. So let's head there next and talk about that. Okay, so classroom features and classes between VIPKid and GoGoKid. So here again, I have taught many more classes on the VIPKid platform than I have on the GoGoKid platform. But with that being said, I think I can make a pretty fair comparison. So the VIPKid platform, their classes have a lot more meat in them, a lot more meat. So I can go into a VIPKid class a lot of times, and this is very dependent on the student in both cases, but knowing that I may not need to extend a whole lot. I usually go into every single GoGoKid class knowing that I'm going to need to extend. It's just their classes and their slides are very, very, very interactive. They're fun for the kids to look at, to watch. I mean, things are moving all over the place, which they're actually really neat. They're really cool. But the output, the student output to me is very, very, very repetitive. And it's just slide after slide after slide after slide of the same thing. So you're saying this one sentence on the slide and you're repeating it 2 or 3 times with the student, and then the next slide is the same sentence and you're repeating it 2 or 3 times with the student. And then there's interactive things. So I'm usually trying with GoGoKid to extend and modify the sentence and bring other things into the class to just keep it interesting, and so that they are saying the sentence that's on the slide, but they're saying other things as well, and they're continuing to learn and maybe increase their vocabulary. So that is my thing with the curriculum, maybe more than the classroom, is with GoGoKid. I know that I need to bring my extension game like 95% of the time. Where on VIPKid, I don't always feel that way. I feel like there's a lot going on the slides with VIPKid where there's almost more extension built in on the slides, where with GoGoKid, there's not as much. So that's with the curriculum. The classrooms are very similar. They have a lot of the same features. One thing I do like about GoGoKid's classroom, though, is they have a whiteboard, like a continuous whiteboard. Like, I know VIPKid has a whiteboard at the end of every lesson, but you have to know which slide number it's on to be able to toggle to it. You don't have to on GoGoKid. It's there. It's just a click away for you. Which I do really like. If you want to communicate with the student, or if you're drawing something with the student, you can toggle back and forth really easily with the whiteboard on GoGoKid. Another thing I like about VIPKid, their classroom, is that if there's something that needs to be hit, like a play button, because we're going to listen to something, like you hover your mouse over and it turns into a pointer to play, and then it'll turn back into a draw to draw. On GoGoKid Classroom, you have to do that. So if you need to play something on the screen, you need to toggle to the pointer tool to be able to play it. And then if you want to draw on the screen, you need to toggle back to the draw tool. So just little differences like that between the classrooms that you need to be aware of. Is it a big deal? No. But going back and forth, those are just little things that I noticed that I need to be aware of. So yeah, next let's talk about pay. Yes, a big one. Let's talk about the differences in pay. Here we go. Okay, so for me, what I've noticed across the board between myself and referrals, between the two companies, is base pay on GoGoKid tends to be higher. Going into your demo with GoGoKid, they are going to point blank ask you what you want to be paid. And this is negotiable. Where I think it also is on VIPKid, I have had much success with negotiations with GoGoKid, and myself and all of my referrals for GoGoKid make more with GoGoKid than they do. If they teach for both companies, they make more with GoGoKid than they do with VIPKid. So my experience with this is that base pay on GoGoKid tends to be higher. And I think this is because GoGoKid, as a little bit newer of a company, is willing to pay a little bit more of a base rate for good quality experienced teachers. They know, especially if you say, I have experience with ESL, I've been, doing this already for, X amount of time, they're willing to pay you for that experience and they want you on their platform. So that is my experience with pay, specifically base pay, is that it tends to be higher with GoGoKid. So let's get into incentive pay, because this is kind of a touchy subject for both companies. So here we go. Okay, so incentive pay for both companies has changed pretty dramatically, I would say, recently. It was first rolled out for both companies to new hires, and then it has since, for both companies, rolled out to their veteran teachers as well. So when I was hired on with GoGoKid back in March of this year, I was hired on with their new incentive pay. So I recommend, it's all very confusing, but they do what's based on like a credit score. So based on your credit score, and a lot of things go into your credit score, but based on what your credit score is, that dictates your incentive pay. So that's how GoGoKid does it. I recommend you check out my video that explains and breaks down in very, very, very easy to understand terms, GoGoKid's incentive pay. So I recommend you check that out. I will link it above, and then I will also link it below so you can check that out. And then also VIPKid came out with their new incentive pay too. Now, when that first rolled out, that was to new teachers, and I wasn't that at the time, but since it has been rolled out to veteran teachers as well, and that will affect me once I sign another contract with VIPKid. So that is coming out. So I have a video on that as well, which again, I will link up here, and I will also link below, which goes over the ins and outs of that new incentive pay as well. But basically the bottom line that goes into both of these, which makes it hard kind of to work for both companies, is that they are rewarding loyalty to the company. The more classes you teach, kind of the higher your incentive pay. So, and that's for both companies. Both companies do it a little bit differently. But that is the commonality that I have found between both of the incentive pay structures, is the amount of classes taught is rewarded in both incentive pay structures. So that's what I've seen, which makes it, like I said, a little bit harder if you wanted to work for VIPKid and GoGoKid, which I actually do. It makes it a little harder to have a little bit higher incentive pay because they're not rewarding things like that like they used to. So that is incentive pay. Where are we going next? We are going to feedback. Yes. What is the difference in feedback between the two companies? Here we go. Okay. So feedback is feedback, right? Yeah, pretty much. I personally like VIPKid's feedback structure a little bit better. I think their feedback tends to pertain to the specific lessons more than GoGoKid's does. I feel like there are some questions that you need to answer on GoGoKid's feedback form that doesn't necessarily pertain to the lesson and makes it a little confusing for teachers. And maybe that's something that they're still trying to work out and work through. I'm not sure. But other than that, feedback is feedback. Another thing I like about VIPKid's feedback versus GoGoKid's is that in VIPKid feedback, you can leave your WeChat handle, like your WeChat name, so you can reach out and communicate and build that connection with parents. If you were to try to do that in your GoGoKid feedback, it would be flagged and they would tell you, no, you can't give your WeChat to parents. This is frowned upon with GoGoKid. So they don't want you reaching out to parents and connecting with them via WeChat. So if you're saying WeChat ID, if they see that in there, I've even tried to put it in with like Chinese characters before and it still got flagged. So it's frowned upon. So I like that VIPKid at least lets you have that chance to connect with parents. I like building connections with parents, even outside of VIPKid. It's not because I'm trying to steal them away from VIPKid and tutor them one-on-one. I just like it. I mean, there's times where I use WeChat to, a student's late and I will give them a few minutes and then I'll message the parents on WeChat, hey, is so-and-so coming to class today? I'm in the classroom waiting for them. And parents will thank me. Thank you so much. I had forgotten about class. And I just saved them X amount of dollars because they would have forgotten class and had to pay for that class and they ended up making it. So anyway, so I like that part about the feedback better, but those are the differences that I've seen between VIPKid and GoGoKid feedback. Okay, where are we going next? Tokens, Token Center, and swag. We're gonna end there. Here we go. Okay, so again, a token center or a swag center, whatever you want to call it. this goes back to the age of the company. So this has been around with VIPKid for a while. They've had, at least since I started, some kind of a token center. You know, you can go in the Hutong and you can answer questions to things, get yourself some tokens. It used to be a lot easier to get tokens with VIPKid than it is now. But you're still able to get some things through the token center using your tokens. When I first started with GoGoKid, they did not have anything like this. But recently, they've started something like this, which is actually really exciting for them. So I haven't played around with it too much, to be honest. I went in there and it seemed like the things that that you needed to do to get stuff was harder than like what you need to do at VIPKid, which is just like answer a question to get like 3 or 4 tokens. So I was, you know, I'm just more used to just the easier stuff on VIPKid. So I was a little turned off by it and I just didn't want to put in the effort because I was just being lazy. I'll have to go in there again and play around, but it does exist and you can go in there and you can, I mean, they've made it now. So like I said, they are progressing as a company and it almost seems like they're kind of following in the footsteps of the big VIPKid. And I know that VIPKid is very popular in China and I think GoGoKid is trying to make a name for themselves in that way as well. I think GoGoKid, from what parents have told me, the classes are a little bit cheaper than VIPKid. So I think that's a way for them to kind of lure students to their platform, get them to use it, things like that. So they're coming along. They're doing great. I think they're doing awesome. I know they have a great student base. They have amazing teachers. I know that. So that is the difference. Those are all the differences I have that I could think of between VIPKid and GoGoKid. Like with any company, there's good and bad with both. Not even bad. Bookings? Should we talk about bookings? Let's talk about bookings. So this is a hard one to talk about right now because bookings are crazy with VIPKid and they are equally crazy with GoGoKid. So I don't feel like I'm in a place to talk generally about bookings right now. But I would say in the land of normalcy, bookings are great. When I first started with GoGoKid back in March, I think I waited 1 week and then I had bookings. So the bookings with GoGoKid are absolutely there. Like I said, right now is just kind of a weird time and I don't know really what's going on. I've had a few more cancellations than I've normally have with VIPKid and I'm seeing the same kind of trend on GoGoKid. But in general, bookings with VIPKid are good and bookings with GoGoKid, in my experience, are equally good. Like I said, when I first started with GoGoKid back in March, after that first frenzy that I opened up for the first frenzy, after I was hired and I was able to open classes, I had bookings. So was I fully booked? No, but I had bookings. So the bookings are definitely there. So I'm glad that we were able to talk about that as a little bonus. So it's up to you whether you think VIPKid or GoGoKid wins this battle. But I like them both. I really do. I like kind of toggling back and forth between them both, especially with the new incentive pay. I like knowing that when I go to GoGoKid, I get a bigger base pay at least. So I know that I'm making more per class over there. And that is the common theme. So that's kind of what has pushed me to start moving more in that direction a little bit. So if I can answer any questions about either company, I'd be happy to do so. Feel free to leave them in the comments below. You can hit me up on social media or you can email me directly. My email is below as well. As always, if you enjoyed this video or want to see other videos like this, please hit that subscribe button and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.